Chairman Day, Chairman Elders, and members of the Joint Committee on the Judiciary, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to write in support of H.1669, an act relative to the offense of assault and battery upon a transit worker. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody deserves to feel safe at their work. Nobody should ever feel threatened or be verbally and physically assaulted. Yet for many public transportation operators, this is a reality. Riders who are agitated, under the influence, or unwell can become physically aggressive with the operator, which not only leaves the operator at risk of being injured, but everyone else who is riding as well. It goes from spitting to punching to flinging bodily fluids, and these drivers are left defenseless. And this is not a new occurrence, and has been happening far too often, far too many years. Then men and women who come to work every day to support themselves and their families should not have to put themselves at risk for unnecessary violent behavior. So today, committee members, you will hear from transit workers who have witnessed or been victims themselves of these attacks. These statistics and stories they bring you are just a brief insight into the unsafe environment they endure. So I urge you to listen and empathize with their anxiety and anger. We in the legislature have the opportunity and the obligation to protect our public transit workers, and I think it's about time we do so. For these reasons, I ask you to report this bill favorably so we can move towards making it law. I thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Eldridge, Chairman Jay, the rest of the Judiciary Committee. My name is Bill Bernadino. I am the Vice President, Assistant Business Agent for the Boston Commons Union, ATU Local 589. The Commons Union represents all buses, trains, trolleys, operators, along with the repairers and maintenance away personnel for the MBTA. We have roughly 6,000 active and retired members at this time. I want to start by thanking State Representative Joe McGonigal for seeing this problem firsthand. I also want to thank all the co-sponsors who signed on to Bill H.1669. Assaults on the transit operator have been on the rise over the country in the past 5 years. With other states adopting assault laws to protect transit workers, it's time that Massachusetts protects their public transit employees. In February, there were 24 assaults on my members, ranging from being stabbed, physical assaults, punching, being spat on, urine and feces, hot coffee thrown on them. Even guns were pulled out. You cannot imagine what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. In 2020, we were in a global pandemic. Throughout the pandemic, transit workers transported our essential workers to and from work, putting their own lives and the lives of their loved ones at risk to ensure that Massachusetts residents were able to receive needed health care and other essentials. These heroes deserve a safe workplace. This legislation is needed to serve as a deterrent to those who think it's okay to attack a transit worker. This is a tool for prosecutors to use to fully prosecute those that attack transit workers. Transit workers come to work to do a job, not wind up in an emergency room. We deserve respect from the riders and from the law. Thank you to all the legislators for recognizing that assaults against transit workers are an ongoing problem that needs to be addressed. This is a step in the right direction. I ask you give the prosecutors and judges the tools to do their job and hold people accountable for their actions. I want to thank my president, James Evans Jr., and my entire executive board for coming up with this policy to protect our members. Every day our members are assaulted while performing their duties. This legislation sends a strong message that assaulting MBTA workers will not be tolerated. I ask you all to listen to my 589 brothers and sisters stories. They are the true heroes. Try to put yourself in their shoes. What would you do? The stories of being assaulted, we are here asking for your help. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Can I also have 3 letters if I can submit them to you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
From other operators and from the state police.
Sure, you can do that after, but if
Do it
you
after,
want,
okay.
each of you can testify now too.
My name is John Colby. I'm Green Line Chief Inspector, Frontline Responder for 26 years.
And I'm sorry, if you could bring the mic closer to you on the side. That's the medium mic, the other one.
Oh, sorry.
My name is John Colby. I'm a Green Line Chief Inspector, Frontline Responder for 26 years for the MBTA. On January 30th, 2023, I was brutally assaulted by a passenger for asking him to stop swearing on the train. I was punched several times in the face, nose, mouth, and chin till I blacked out and fell against the side of the train. It happened so fast I could not protect myself. My nose, mouth were bleeding. He broke my thumb, fractured my front teeth, and bit my hand till it bled. After he bit my hand, he said, "I will see you later." I was transported by ambulance to Beth Israel Hospital and treated. Nothing like this has ever happened to me on or off the job. I now suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, and insomnia. I am scheduled for surgery for my thumb and waiting for workman's comp to approve surgery for plastic surgery of my nose. My front teeth are fractured and need root canals with my rear teeth that are shifted from impact before they fall out. Workman's comp has refused to pay all my medical bills and will not answer or return my phone calls. My doctors prescribed several medications for me to cope with nightmares, depression, and anxiety. I still see this man in nightmares and relive this horrible assault over and over again. This man was taken into custody by the T police. He was not arrested or subpoenaed. He walked away like nothing ever happened. In 2019, this man was charged in a crime spree and accused of assaulting police officers. He is also gang affiliated. He currently has several warrants for his arrest in several cities. T Police finally issued him a warrant for his arrest after I made many phone calls to them voicing my concern. No one wanted to talk to me about this incident or return my calls from the T Police. I took T Police almost 2 months to issue a warrant and give me a police report that was mostly redacted. This vicious act of violence has changed my life in many ways. I would never imagine in my life I would be in so much fear that I would not be able to simply go food shopping for myself or do daily tasks. I have a son with a disability, and we would do many things together. That he liked. Go to a concert, see a movie, go to the zoo. I am very disconnected and don't want to do these things anymore. It is a horrible feeling. It is a feeling no one can feel unless they've been through something so traumatic. Why this man was not arrested for what he did to me? Why is workman's comp refusing to pay my medical bills and answer my phone calls? How can I go back to work with this man riding the trains, beating people up, telling me he will be back to see me? How can I live a normal life? I am hoping something will change today for the better.
Thanks, Mr. Corey, for your testimony. Thank you for telling your story. Very sorry what happened to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bradley, would you wish to testify?
My name is Cheryl Bradley, bus operator at a Cabot. I drive mostly inner city, and most of my issues have been on inner city routes. This year alone, January, I had 13 days of working. I had 6 incidences of being verbally assaulted mostly. Then I had a young man on the 66 route tell me he was gonna murder me. It took over 12 minutes for the cops to get from across the street at the substation at Roxbury Crossing Station to my bus. The person was gone, got across the street, got on the train, nowhere to be found. I went home, had some anxiety because I've had issues in the past with passengers. I've learned, I have my own therapist. I've learned to try and deal with it, breathing techniques. A few days later, I came back. I was on the #1 bus and early in the morning, and I had another incident where people were verbally assaulting me. My blood pressure rose so high that my body was shaking. I called for an ambulance. When they got there, my blood pressure was 186 over 126. They said, "We're taking you to the hospital, miss." I spent 7 hours in the hospital waiting for my blood pressure to go down, be normal enough to go home. Got in touch with my therapist and took 3 weeks off. Saw my primary care doctor. He put me on some medication. I went back to work on a Monday, March 6th, and on March 7th, while I was doing a number 22 route, I had 2 teenage boys get on my bus. One was vaping. I asked him not to vape. It's not allowed. Gave me a thumbs up, no problem. And then as they rang the bell to get off the bus, came to the front, blew a big puff of smoke in my face and said, "You're a effing B word," and that and the other thing. Called me a bunch of names. I asked him, "Please just get off the bus. You're right, you stop. Please go, please go." And the second person punched the window of the bus as I closed the door, because apparently he wasn't done threatening me. And then he brandished a gun, looked right at my face, smiled at me, pulled the gun out of his jacket, put it back in his jacket. And unfortunately for me, my radio system didn't work. So I had delays on getting the information to my dispatcher and getting police there. So they didn't find him that day, but the cameras were working. They found him the next day. And we're waiting for a hearing. And I have never been so scared in my life.
So Ms. Bradley, thank you very much for telling your story. And I'm so sorry also what you've gone through. And thank each of your testimony. You're all speaking of the fact that this behavior is increasing, which is obviously unacceptable. I am curious do you think this is all related to the challenges or impacting hiring MBTA employees, or I'm just curious why you think it's increasing.
I believe it absolutely is a challenge. We have assaults, which one happened Friday night on the 111 route. Passenger came in the rear door with a bike. All the driver said is, "Sir, can you please put your bike on the front of the bus in the bike rack?" He was charged and just got a punch in the face as hard as he can. He shattered his face just for doing that. Now, people see this, you're not gonna come to work for the T if you're gonna worry about assaults. I speak to the new hires. We talk about ties. They want us to be in uniform. A tie is your biggest weapon because they can just wrap it around and just start beating it. There is no respect out there. They feel entitled that they can put their hands on one of my members. And they can't. It shouldn't be allowed. And again, my members are just asking for help. When the police, if they do come on time, they're not arrested on the spot. They get issued a summons. They had insult to injury, they put them on the bus behind them. As that person is laughing, I just whacked you, I just threw a cup of coffee on you, I spit on you. They get rewarded. The T police have actually driven these people to the next station if there wasn't a bus behind them. The saying the prisoners are running the prison, they're letting the public run the T, and there is not going to be a T if we don't get help. Nobody's going to want this job.
And obviously you're here to ask the legislature to take action, but I am curious, has there been any meetings with the Carmen's Union and the new leadership in the MBTA?
Yes, they have.
Okay, okay, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members? Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. Really appreciate your time. And we have a second panel of transportation employees. Obviously part of the MBTA, Carlos Campos and Pasqualina Patty Hardy. So good afternoon and thanks for coming before the committee. Absolutely. And please take your time to tell your story. Thank you for coming before the committee.
Hi, my name is Pasqualina Hardy. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself first, okay? I'm a widow. My husband died 8 years ago. I'm the only parent my children have. Me to go to work, most people go to work, they clock in, they clock out, they go home. We don't know if we're gonna go home. My son is so afraid. He was 8 years old. He said to me, "Mommy, be safe. Make sure you come home." Be all I had. I was driving my bus. Everything was fine. Gentleman just came over. Went to get off the bus, spat in my face for no reason at all whatsoever. I was right in front of Dorchester Court. 20 minutes for the police to respond. A lot could happen in 20 minutes. I've never been so petrified in my life. I had to go get HIV tested. I had to get tested for hepatitis. I was married for 20 years. I never had to go through that in my life. That's just one incident. Another incident, I was driving the #1 bus. Gentleman got on the bus, dropped his package. I said, "Sir, you dropped your package." He goes, "Well, it's going to take me 2 weeks to get to the back of the bus." I said, "Sir, that's okay. Take your time." Soon as he got on the bus, he started yelling and swearing. Told the passenger, "Get the F out of my way." Told another woman, "Shut that effing window." A woman that was on the bus recorded it on WhatsApp app and sent it to me. Turned around and said, "I will kill you," to my passengers. "I'm a POW. The police aren't going to do anything to me. They will not arrest another veteran." Then he comes up to me and starts to insult me. Calls me names that I don't even want to mention to this board because they were horrific. Then he told the other passenger, "You know what? You don't think I have a weapon? I have a knife. I will kill you." And then proceeded to come to my window and tell me that he was going to stab me. 20 minutes for transit police to arrive. I said, "Now if I want to take some time off, they take my sick time and my vacation time." I was afraid to go to work. I used to love my job. I used to love working with the public. I've been doing this for 16 years. Now there are times I don't even want to go to work. But I'm the only support system my family has. And if I don't go to work, my rent doesn't get paid. My utilities don't get paid. We don't get food for our children to eat. Everything is so expensive and everything is on my shoulders. And this board, please, you need to do something to protect us. It's just not fair. It's not fair for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for telling your story, Ms. Hardy. So sorry what you're going through. Appreciate it. Mr. Campos, did you want to testify?
Hello, my name is Carlos Campos. I'm a Green Line operator. I mainly work out of the E line, E Street, Huntington Ave. Around middle of March. Well, it first started when I was at Park Street. We call these passengers DKs, which are drunk people. So this DK got on our train. He was fine for most of the ride going westbound towards our destination at H Street. So once we reached our destination at Heath Street, I've noticed he dropped a bottle of half drunken liquor. It was like I don't know what it was, what brand. care less. So I told him, I was like, you dropped your bottle. He woke up and he was like, thank you. And I was like, this is the last stop. Do you want to stay on to go somewhere else or you want to get off? So he tells me that he wants to go to Park Street. So they told us to stand by for a couple of minutes. Next thing you know, I started smelling in the train. There was like marijuana, very like strong marijuana. So I told the passenger, I was like, you got to get off the train. You know, I don't feel comfortable you smoking here. You can't be smoking on the property. He gets mad at me and he gets off the train, goes across the street, comes back, pushes me in my chair and tells me that, you know, why you kick me off the train? It's not right. Then he goes to my partner, pushes him, and this goes on for like about 5 minutes, arguing with me, arguing with my partner. And then so I called on the radio, emergency, we're, you know, there's a passenger attacking us. It took transit maybe about 15-20 minutes to come to our train. And once he heard the sirens, he disappeared. We told transit where he went. They were looking for him. They just took his description. They didn't, you know, that's it. And like I said, like I love my job, you know, it's the best job I've ever had. And it's tough living through that, you know, every day. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campos, and thank you to you and Ms. Hardy for the work you do each and every day for the public. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Bernadino, for your advocacy. Are there any questions from the committee members? Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming for the committee.
Thank you.